This is TWiT.
Today's the day. The California Consumer Privacy Protection Act goes into effect.
You're in charge of the world now, California.
It's us, baby. Forget GDPR. We got the CCPA. I don't know what's going to happen. Although I do see a lot of companies now putting CCPA disclaimers and trying to
CYA.
Yeah, at least CYA, yeah. Mm-hmm. It gives internet users in California, hence the world, the right to request businesses not to sell or even delete their personal information, kind of like GDPR. But there's still questions, according to Adweek. Of course, Adweek would be all over this, about what counts as selling information and which party manages opt-out. Mm-hmm. CCPA defines a sale as selling, renting, releasing, disclosing, disseminating, making available, transferring, or otherwise communicating orally in writing or by electronic or other means a consumer's personal information by the business to another business or a third party for monetary or other valuable consideration.
It's a very interesting definition of selling.
Yeah. Well, you could put away the thesaurus and just, yeah, right. By the way, it doesn't have to be for money. It doesn't have to be for money. Valuable consideration could be mutual benefit.
Was Adweek assuming that there's a third party managing all of this, and this isn't just the government managing all of these checks and balances coming in for people that want to opt out?
That's an interesting question. No, I think that at least with GDPR, it's up to us, for instance, to enforce.
Yeah, it's the companies that have to enforce it.
Yeah.
The California Attorney General can go after companies that don't do it. And then there are other aspects to it. It's going to be a mess, just as GDPR was a mess. And if you look at kind of the results of GDPR in a lot of cases, it's really just given more power to the big companies that can deal with it, and created all sorts of problems for the smaller guys.
That's really true. That's unfortunately really true. Although I welcome these protections, I think we need them.
I think having protections is good. I mean, the CCPA. What bothers me is that it was a very rushed job, and it's why, part of it went into force 6 months ago without the actual regulations. It's the new regulations that went into force today, but because it just wasn't ready, because they just kind of rushed the whole thing. And privacy, if the stuff we were talking about before is complex and crazy and has all different trade-offs, privacy is at an entirely different level of trade-offs and complexity, and that's not the kind of thing that you should rush a law through. And so I am supportive of the idea of better protecting privacy in so many different ways. And I think the companies are terrible at it, but I do not think that this is the proper vehicle for doing it.
There will be an extension to it because, as Mike knows, here in California, we've decided that the Assembly doesn't want to do any work, so they've decided to let the voters vote. There will be a ballot initiative in November called the California Privacy Rights Act, which would expand the definitions of the CCPA, make it even more dramatic. For instance, a business would be any entity that buys, sells, or shares the personal information of 100,000 or more consumers or households. So the previous threshold, 50,000. By increasing that number, the idea is protect small businesses, so that's good. Mm-hmm. And under CCPA, consumers have the right to know what pieces of information a company has collected over a 12-month period. The ballot initiative would extend that period to any time, so long as it takes proportionate effort, whatever the hell that means. They would also
the problem here is the same as before, is that this saying selling your data is not defined. Right? Data is a transactional among parties, and who owns it and what it is. It's the same as saying, get rid of hate.
It's tough.
Well, what's hate?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're leaving it. It just drives me nuts.
Well, and to answer your question, Ant, the ballot initiative does, in fact, propose creating an agency to enforce, the California Privacy Protection Agency, and they would enforce it.
Some of the stuff with the ballot initiative is a little bit sketchy too, because the whole reason we had the CCPA in the first place is because the same guy got a ballot initiative in California on the ballot that was even worse initially, and the CCPA was compromised.
That's right.
Which was basically, right. We will pass this, hastily written law that is not as crazy as your ballot initiative if you drop the ballot initiative. And so he dropped the ballot initiative. They passed the CCPA, put it into effect, and 6 months later, he's back with another ballot initiative. And you're like, wait, I thought we had a deal where you were going to back off.
Oh, I didn't realize this is from that same guy.